Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
We're back. You glad to be back?
We're back. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no place like home.
There is no place like home. And we had a great time in Dallas. We'll talk about it. I got the pictures for you guys. We filmed some, and this is actually in response to Kent and Paula, who talked about, well, my community speech. Will I do a video? I will. We filmed it. I just have to upload it and, go through, all those steps in order to get it up. We will absolutely get it up. And then also I've got another one coming up that is all online, a speech I'm giving at an event that I'll be able to upload. The good news about that one is it's already uploaded. I just got to do the event, right? So, but we are glad to be home. I got to tell you guys, Crunchy Mama Farms down there was incredibly hospitable. And we had a great time, met a lot of good friends, had some connections with some people even after the event, that text me or whatever it is.
I really like how they had their setup.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, don't listen to talk about that because I got slides on that.
Okay.
And then you can talk about the things you liked as far as their setup goes.
Okay.
But that'd be good, right?
Yep.
Another thing I've been doing lately, guys, that I thought would be fun we could discuss a little bit tonight is, B and I have always talked about if we could find the right match that fit the right need, that we would consider, building a tiny house or whatever it is and having an intern or having someone come, live on the farm and help process food and tend to the food forest and the animals and all of the things that go on. And so we've been having this conversation, me and B, for a long time. So I found a group on Facebook called Homesteaders Looking for Helpers and Helpers Looking for Homesteaders. And I was surprised at how many people there were.
That's
on
a long name.
Oh my goodness, it was a lot. And
how many people are on there?
But it's got a couple 100,000 people on there. And so I got on there to ask some questions of the proposed helpers. And my questions were super loaded. But before we get there, let's get some hellos.
Yeah, I did not know you were doing that.
Yeah, I know. I do it for my own weirdness. No live is complete
without a pack rat.
Welcome in, Pack Rat. Kent, how are you? Good to see you. Greatest name on the internet.
Half a blossom
is in the house. Carrie Davis, good to see you as well. Deacon 1310, good to see you. Let's see here. Lisa's in the house. Good to see you. The beautiful Paula and her husband Kent are in the house. And they asked, will your community discussion be posted? How about that? Will your, in the audience tonight, will your community discussion be presented on YouTube so all can peruse the information presented? The answer is yes. Let's see here. Squatchy, what's up, buddy? Nitos, good to see you. I just talked to you like seconds ago. Let's see here. Bill Fallon, how are you? Good to see you. Jane Marie, hello. Grateful Hearts Ranch. And Mary Michelle, Jim Botho, good to see you. My buddy Mo's in the house, as always. Good to see you. Nostradamus, good to see you. Rhonda Benefield, hello. ACM Homestead, I hope all is well with you. Did you get your gates hung yet? Let's see. Stan Guthrie is here, as is Permatopia Farm. Hello, Mandy. Conserve Friends, good to see you. Barbara, let's see here. Oh, cannot forget Aljo's with Barbara. Welcome both, Aljo and Barbara. Terminator, good to see you, my friend. Let's see here. Redneck Tom, what's up? Good to see you. See here, Lisa May and the beautiful Louise Wesley is in the house. Oh, actually. Oh, Nito says, actually, you're talking to Bill. Okay. I kind of just lump them together, Let me see. My buddy Mario's in the house. How are you, my friend? We miss you guys. We got to spend we were so blessed, like in so many ways, our community rocks, the community close and the community afar. And so when we went to Texas, Life with Mike and Jen came up and watched the house. And so they got to do, the animal chores and had a load of hay show up they had to cope with. And,
they got to visit some crazy.
Yeah, they got to visit a little bit of crazy, but it was good. And I'm sure
Grand Central Station.
Yeah, they got to experience all of it, and I think that was pretty cool. But more importantly, they got to bless us, and we didn't have to worry about what was going on here.
Yes,
we didn't have to worry about the animals being loved and taken care of, as we want, right?
Right.
And so I cannot say thank you enough to both Mario and Jen, for their compassion, right? Their willingness to teach, willingness to learn,
Their patience.
Yeah, patience and just being our friends. It's really cool, really really cool. So anyway, Lazy Loper, welcome in. As is Gypsy King, Jeff, Juicy, Hepsy, Lefty, Amazon, Mud Dog, or Slick, Phyllis in the house as well. So anyway, let's get back to Facebook. So this was a pretty cool gig in that I wanted to know from a helper's perspective, someone who would be moving on to somebody's land, right? What are their motivations and what would their expectations be
For the helper?
for the helper? Yeah. Because what I'm trying to understand is it worth my effort?
Well, yeah, because what answers you were getting, I did not foresee them coming.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean?
Oh,
you read some of them.
Well, I just heard you guys talking about.
Okay.
And like one of them, you said they wanted you to, and I could be wrong here, but they wanted you to supply them a house, pay them a wage, and give them food.
Yeah, that's there's some of that. Yeah.
And I was like, what would they do for that?
Hey, welcome in, Dave and Sonia in Michigan. There's a YouTube channel you guys should check out. One Step Closer. Good to see you. Let's see here. Conserve Friend says, let's see here. Only your two shoulders are showing. Screen vertical, not horizontal. What is going on?
Oh, that's funny.
Did that change? What is going on? I'm Conserve Friends. Thank you for that. Now I got to figure out how did I do that? What do you see right now, Conserve Friends? I don't want the horizontal one. Sage. Nope. Yeah, Lisa Marie, I know. Pockety says, looks fine here. Same.
Huh.
So how do I get rid of that?
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know.
To exit?
Completely weird.
When you came over here, there were 3 dots you could. Oh, no.
No, I don't have any idea what I'm doing. We don't want to do that. Hide vertical.
That's funny.
Dan Gunther says, look great. Regular view on TV. Can Squatch, welcome in. Says, I see 2 feeds in my notifications. My phone looks good, said Gypsy's Louise. Bad. Our TV bad. What is going on? So it works for some people.
Yeah, for some people and not
others. Wonderful.
Is it like a Facebook thing? Is everybody on Facebook only sees shoulders and everybody on YouTube sees everything?
Half Bubble Off Plum says, my screen was the same way. I went out and back in and now back to normal.
Huh. So for those of you who are only seeing just shoulders, log out, log back in. No, that doesn't make sense.
I don't know. Yeah,
yeah,
ACM says regular on TV, phone is bad. If it's not working, close and reopen. Yeah, Redneck, talking to me, I just did that. Here, watch. And come back in. See that?
I got a message that says, can you pull the camera back? It's really close and not getting both of you in the view.
Okay. Well, I didn't know she was in there.
I didn't either.
Elizabeth, we love you. I did not know you were here. You should really comment a little more often. That way we would know that, right? Let's see here. YouTube. You only have 2 notifications on YouTube. Okay, Redneck said that he had to get out and then get back in. Okay, cool.
Shoulder view at first.
I'm not nuts. Says logged in and logged back in, working great now.
Why is that? That's weird.
There you go. Look at that. Yep. She is not. It is me. Well, we love you too, Michael. Still got a comment, right? You hello. Oh, haha. Let me see here. I went to your channel and back to the live and it fixed it. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, tag. Who did you
poo?
Who did I poo?
Okay, tag. Who did you poo?
That's like a rhyme. Tag, who did you poo? I don't know what that means. Let's see here. That narrow vertical view happened to Grumpy on Tuesday. There were some new settings for his phone. Got it. Well, it seems like
right here, show vertical.
I'm not touching another button because it appears to be working, and I think it's working fine for everybody else. Anyway, let me know if you still can't see, and I'll put. Popper's Garden says poo ticked off. Who knows with me, right? I've been on a roll pissing people off lately. Not trying to.
Taxman says different.
Oh, it's so hard. Anyway, so back to Facebook. Yeah, Gypsy said had to shut TV off. Works fine now. Okay. Well, I have no idea what's going on, but again, it appears to be better. So anyway, back to Facebook. So again, I was trying to find motivators, and I was trying to understand what the expectations would be for a helper. And I seen that Mandy in there asked what was the site, and it's called Helpers Looking for Homesteads and Homesteads Looking for Helpers. It's a Facebook page.
It's the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. Like I've been reading a lot about it, and there's a large percentage of the helpers that think what's fair is for someone like me to provide a home, provide all the utilities, pay all the taxes, allow them to share in the produce, and pay them a wage. Right?
Which I don't understand what you get for that.
Well, you get more work done. I mean, so like the motivator for the homestead in that particular case would you'd be getting more stuff done.
If they worked out. I
Yeah,
mean,
right. Assuming that they worked out. There's a few.
We had a guy sleeping in the chicken coop. Remember that?
Yeah. We
We had a guy sleeping in the chicken coop. In the gross, right? He was hungover, was coming to help, and went.
I hired some local boys.
Went and took a nap in the chicken
And
coop.
we took a nap. Okay, cool. Nitos is good to go too. Okay, conserve friends, wonderful. Okay, cool. So back up. So anyway, there was also a few people in there that would try to make the argument that they should be awarded land ownership. That you should be not only doing that, but you should be giving them a piece of land so that they feel secure, because they're going to put all this blood and sweat and equity into something that they can't control, that they could ultimately be kicked off the island. Right. And so that was, some of their concern as well. The first main one that I asked them when we went in there was, I said to them, let's say that you're on my farm and I'm gone, I'm at a speaking event or something, and nobody's here, and the neighbor dog gets through the fence and kills 2 turkeys. Assuming you can't get a hold of me, tell me what your response to, what would you do in that particular situation? And it was super fascinating to me, because I got everything from, I wouldn't do anything. It's your farm.
Oh,
On one side to kill the dog. That was a very common answer. Some people said that they would kill the dog, process the turkeys, hang the feathers. Some people said I'd go and figure out where they got in and fix the fence. Right. So all kinds of different answers through that. And it was fascinating to me, because I wasn't asking about a dog or a turkey. What I was asking about is how system dependent are we? Because there's a lot of people said I would call the sheriff.
call the police.
Right. So how system dependent are we? To me was a super, super big one. And then also, how community minded are we? Because I would never call. If my neighbor's dog got over and got to my animals, I would never call the police.
Our neighbor's dogs are on our property several times.
Yep. And I just wouldn't. I also would not shoot the dog the first time. Right. I mean, I think it's about being neighborly, and I think it's about dogs just do what dogs do. If they got in the fence, it's because I didn't do a good job of keeping them out of the fence. Right. I mean, again, they're only doing what they're going to do. Now, if it became a some kind of ongoing problem, I may have to deal with it by shooting the dog. But I would not do that right away. And I certainly wouldn't call the cops.
You could hit it with a BB gun and it probably wouldn't come back.
Yeah, probably. So I think the right answer to that question would have been, something like, first, secure the food. Find out where they got in, stop their ability to do it again. First, secure the food. Second, let the neighbor know, that, hey, this is what's going on. And I think that's important, so that person has a relationship with the neighbors also. you know,
Mhm.
not just me.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that would be a course of action.
You mean
And
secure the
yeah.
food? What food?
what I mean is make sure the fence no longer they can get in anymore. Secure the food, right? Secure the, you can't change the turkey diet. What you can do is you can say, okay, I'm going to stop the next dog from getting in. I'm going to figure out how to secure our food, right? Because with a hole in the fence, however they got in, the food's not secure.
Right. Something else is going to come in.
Yeah. And so that would have been a good one. The other ones would have been, if it's salvageable, I would process the turkey, right? Would be another good one. But I really didn't get, I know nobody answered the question like that. They all answered it into call the sheriff, shoot the dog.
Mhm.
You know, it's not the dog's fault. We're just going to have a turkey dinner. Someone actually said, we're going to have a turkey dinner and I'm going to invite the dog over, you know, in there. So that was all pretty fascinating. I asked a question about their expectations from should all their needs be met. We talked about that just a little bit. I proposed the question that, so somebody like me who spent, 20 years saving money to be able to go to go live this life, right? Someone who goes through that process and then spends all the energy capital to build everything to include their house, right?
Mhm.
And you spend all your money and all of this. I don't ever get, my reward is not more land. My reward is healthy food and clean water, right? That's the
Right.
reward. So and I asked him, please explain to me how somebody thinks that a homesteader should give some of their land away to someone who's invested none of that, even though they get the benefit of the clean food and clean water. Right. And so there was a lot of really interesting.
I didn't hear they should get land part.
Yeah, there's a
That's
few of them.
crazy.
Yeah. I would never do that. Ever. And I can tell you though, if I had a couple that I, loved and it worked out and they worked hard and they did the right thing and my kids didn't want it, I certainly wouldn't let it go to auction. I'd find another way.
Right.
You know,
I could see
but-
it in that instance, but and that would be somebody like your dad's helper that was with him
Right.
for 14 years
Right.
and
That's different.
ran that
Yeah.
farm.
Yeah.
That's a whole different story. I could see something like that happening and the farm being passed on to them. But
Hey, one step closer, welcome in.
did they say how long that they wanted to work for land? Like, did that person that say what was it?
Also, gratitude to Grace, welcome in. Started Dope, welcome in. Dana Green, will be cool. I think I got it. Yep. Okay. So yeah, like some of them said that they should be able to be, contracted into an acre or two, so that where they're living was theirs and they'd work it off over time. Via hours. Some of them said, that there should be a year waiting, or there should be, and it just blew me away because, and I'm not being mean, I'm not in that shoe. And so I feel, they got to live there. But I mean, it took me 20 years to put all the money together, right? And it took me 6 years to build it all.
Well, to build what we have.
Which,
I'm assuming, that's not even a place for them to live yet.
No, but it's food forests and gardens and barns
Right.
and animals and shops and a wood shop and a processing kitchen and a community building
And the tools to run it all.
and the tools to run it all. I mean, so like the investment of 20 years plus 6 years, and for someone to say, hey, I should get it after a year, it just, kind of blew me away, a little bit.
So that they had something to invest in.
Now, Permatopia Farm says it depends on the agreement of the two parties of what would make it work. Yeah, my friends, gratitude to Grace. Say hello a few minutes past the hour, but we're here. Yeah. I'm glad you're here too. Permatopia says it depends on a lot of factors of agreement between two parties. I would start with someone I know and have some trust. Too dangerous for any stranger on your property. Let's see here. Nito.
We've all seen those movies.
Yep. Nito says, I look at it that for an intern, an RV space with utilities and a share of food being grown for the opportunity to learn from a homesteader. I agree with that. You get wages for work. Why is that so hard to understand? The homesteader is taking the risk. One, you get wages for work. Why is that so hard to understand? I don't think it's hard to understand, but I think wages is an interesting word, right? I mean, I go out and move a ton of dirt so B can grow a garden. I don't get any wages from the money perspective, right? I get wages from a good food perspective, right?
I could see if what he's saying is you pay them for their hours
Mhm.
and then they turn around and pay for rent.
Mm.
I don't see why you would pay them and then take care of all of their needs.
Sure, friends, I like the intern choice as well, like Salatin's place. Yep, I have heard Paul Wheaton up in Washington have a program for that, but I'm not familiar with all the rules that goes with it. Knowing Paul Wheaton, I'm sure it's a great program. Yeah, I got a chance to sit down. I think he calls it he gave me a book on it. Anyway, I got a chance to sit down and talk to him a little bit about how it works.
Kind of like what Joel's doing.
Yeah.
Internship.
Yeah. You see, Starla says, people want to reap rewards without sweat equity. No go for me. Carrie Davis says, and how were sharecroppers paid? In a share of the crop. That's why they're called sharecroppers. Let's see here. Nidos agrees with conservative friends. There's also someone in Quebec, I think his name is John, takes on interns to learn market gardening. So close says, tag, I mean the people who want to help the homestead. Okay, let me go back here. Oh, SKIP program. That's right. That's right. One step closer. It was the SKIP program. Good for you. Yeah. Let's see here. Hey, Indiana Mike. What's up, bud? Indiana Mike says, this is easy. There's an inside joke there. And for anybody who isn't laughing, you should be laughing. That's good stuff right there.
It's easy.
Appropriate rent is divided by appropriate hourly wage, hours worked per month. Yeah, what I was figuring, I actually did some math, Indiana, and I know this won't surprise you, but I'm a little nerdy this way, but I went and figured out that according to the credit bureaus, you should have about 30% of your cost in housing. And so, you sit down and look at a 40 or 45 hour week, right? 30% of that would be 15 hours. Right. So that would mean to me, it would make some sense to me that you would target a 15, maybe with the utilities, a 20-hour work week would be a fair exchange for housing and utilities.
Okay.
Right. I'm guessing a little bit here, but Gypsy says, I work for food. Yeah. Are you guys going to come over for Thanksgiving, by the way, Gypsy?
No.
Either not?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you said, I don't know. I thought you said no.
No, I said, yeah, I mean, we all work for food.
Yep.
So
there's a long-term thing called woofers for trading, learning, for housing for a bit of a time. The thing I don't know about is the bit of the time thing. I really don't want to rotate through it. And what I really, in my perfect world, right, you would find someone you just got along with good, who could learn all the chores, learn how it all works, make sure we have redundancy in everything, and you just live your life. And they get blessed with living a clean life, and we get blessed by having the extra help, But that's probably me dreaming a little bit. Tulip Little Angel, how are you? Said, why not ask Joe Salatin if any of his interns are interested, and then you can interview them. They already would have some experience. I think there'd definitely be some kind of interview process. Mike says, it comes down to agreement on what fair compensation is for trade of time and perks. Yeah, Indiana says, appropriate wage to be dictated by skill level and efficiency. Yeah, I'm not even so much even considering skill level at this point. I'm just trying to figure out what are the economics. If you found somebody who wanted a homestead, who, like most people who are starting homesteading life, would come into it with a very little level of skill, in my opinion, right? They'd be wanting to, grew a garden in their backyard, maybe had a few chickens, but efficiency, I don't think certainly should be in there. Those who have been able to do it successfully, I bet, have very detailed written agreements. I agree. There have been discussions over the years about even the terms intern and apprentice. Mm-hmm. Hey, Randy, welcome in. Nito says, back in my early 20s, rented a mobile home on the farm. I was given the opportunity to work off my rent working on the farm. I, however, held a full-time job as well. Yeah, maybe there's something to what Nitos is saying right there. Maybe you actually create, and it's a rental, and they have the opportunity to work it off at whatever agreed to hours. And if they don't get there, then they owe you the money. Gypsy said our granddaughter invited us already. Oh, cool. No, that's way more important anyway. Way more important. See, Jim Botho says, I would love to stay out there and I'd love to work all day. I just can't convince my husband yet. It's a lot. And I know there's a lot of really good homesteaders in the audience, tonight now, but anybody who knows it is a lot. We joke around a lot about, nothing we do is hard, but everything we do is impossible. And there's no single task that goes on in the homestead that's particularly hard. Right. It's just the normal work, fixing a fence or building a bench or hauling wood or making some soap, right? Whatever it is. But trying to do all of it and keep up on all of it, man, it's absolutely hard. You got to be at it all day, every single day. And then maybe
you still can't even get it all done.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I wonder if the government would want to have you pay employee taxes since over 50% of their earnings come from one place. Oh, that's a good point.
Huh.
And you got to worry about all that.
Right.
I don't provide anything for them except land, well, water, utilities they paid, and food from our land. Once they have been here for 6 months to a year, then get learning and 1 acre of land. Got it. Yeah, Jim Botho says it's constant. It is constant. And again, enjoyable, rewarding. Like there's really not much that I do that I'm like, I don't want to do this or I hate this, but it is definitely a whole bunch. Do you agree?
Yeah. I'm not interested in the whole giving away lots of land, because you get somebody out there and they're there for a year and they get a corner of land, and then they decide to go and work in town, and then you got a corner of the land that doesn't belong to you anymore. And then, you get somebody else, you do try it again, and then there goes the other corner. And then that happens again. And then I'm not a fan of any of that.
No, well, it's something I'm going to continue to play with. I may never do anything. I'm not sold on the idea. There's big negatives to it, in my opinion, like just freedom. From the front of my house, the side of my house, the back of my house, whatever, there's really no view of the outside world. It's just us. And so if I got to pee, it's pretty easy, And so anyway, I'm going to just continue to think about it. And, but I would love it, any and all of your guys' feedback, because I think it's just such a fascinating topic. And I will continue to post on that site, trying to gain insight, because I learned just an incredible amount, everything from I wouldn't do anything, it's your problem, to I would shoot the dog, to I would call the cops, to I'd make a turkey dinner and invite the dog.
That doesn't make sense to me. You didn't fight the dog.
Anyway, what else you got on your list, Pumpkin? What do you got on your?
Well, I started the wood cooking videos, which means I'm hauling in wood now. It's been chilly enough, but it hasn't been cold enough to keep the stove going. So it goes out every now and again, usually at night, because nobody's getting up to feed it. And when it's 80 degrees in the bedroom, the upstairs bedroom, it's pretty awful.
Yeah.
Hard to sleep. But I'm working on pod 4, and I got the upstairs.
How long have you been working on pod 4?
Got the upstairs finished. So it just needs carpeting now. And I got all the windows wiped down and the trim painted, and the bedroom is, I need to paint under the stairs. There's a cubby under the stairs that I have to paint, but otherwise the bedroom's done, and I'm moving into the closet, which is 10 by, what is that room?
Oh, probably 10 by 16.
10. Oh,
no, it's a lot bigger than that.
And it's just full of shelves, so there's a lot of white paint to be painted in there. So I'm moving my way in there. I should be done, by this time next year. Then we're just waiting on the bathroom, and the above the shower. Up above the shower, there's a
cubby.
Yeah, cubby. I was going to say crawl space, but yeah, cubby. And it doesn't have insulation in it. So he has to get up there and put insulation in it so that we can keep the heat in there. When Mario was here, he fixed the shower valve that was broken. Well, we thought it was broken.
It was broken because I
Come to
replaced
find
it.
out, well, we did replace it, but it might not have been broken. Because when
Just replace parts.
when Mario put water in the pipes on that side of the house, he found there were 2 water leaks, apparently, like from pipes freezing, I guess, because we had just like closed off the whole pod and we were like, well, just don't go over there in the wintertime. Well, 2 of the pipes froze, and when he put water in the line, it like showed itself. So we're thinking that it might not have actually been the valve that you were having trouble with. It could have just been water coming through the.
Did you come up with that all on your own?
No, I asked him.
Okay, well, when you turned the valve on, it was leaking out of the valve. I couldn't make the valve stop it, which is why we replaced it.
Are you sure it was the valve? Because it could have been coming out of, the pipe that had the crack in it that was behind it.
Yeah,
'Cause
so
it's not like it was tiled all the way up to the. No, they leave like parts of the wall untiled,
I love
and
you.
then they just stick a
love
sticker
you.
over it.
I love you. I want to spend a day in your world. That would be just a fabulous place.
It's amazing the stuff that they do.
Carrie Davis said that Airbnb with farm experience.
Mm.
Permatopia says, B, that would be someone I know, not a stranger. Gratitude to Grace says there would have been clear expectations on both sides. I don't think it should include ownership of anything the owner has, intern, employee, etc., not partnership.
Mm-hmm. Not partnership.
My neighbor has a farm sitter from time to time. Might be better. Well, it wouldn't really achieve my goals though. I can get a farm sitter super easy. We got a big enough community. We've had many people come over and help and take care of the animals or, whatever it is. That part's, pretty easy. Let's see here. Pumatopia says, question. I have a 100-foot diameter pond full of turtles. I'd like to bring in some fish. How do I get rid of the turtles and keep them out and kill them? I mean, that's the problem. There's,
That's a lot of turtles.
Well, you can collect them all and then give them to make them someone else's problem, but that's not a real solution. So
Just sell them on the internet.
I'd be right up there with a pet rock business.
People buy that stuff too. You never know. People buy some weird stuff.
And sometimes water that has a pipe that has a hole in it, instead of going out the hole, it stays in and runs in through the valve. It's crazy how it works.
It is.
It is just remarkable.
Mario's in here. He knows.
Are you asking for him to come to your aid right
No,
here?
I'm just saying that, water lines, when they break, they leak.
Yep.
So,
What you got next on your list? This water line?
I know. At least it wasn't like a crimping problem, right? Like uncrimp water lines.
You guys remember Mike says that means you're both right. Okay, so you guys remember the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yes.
The one guy says, who elect you leader of this outfit? And then George Clooney says, well, Pete, I figured it would be the one that had a capacity for abstract thought or something something like that. And then he says, well, I'm voting for me. I'm voting for me. And they look at the other guy and he goes, I'm with you fellas.
I'm with you fellas.
What was that guy's name? That'd be another good nickname for Mario.
That's right. Yep. All right. Well, you want to go through your pictures? You have a bunch of the same stuff that I have.
There you go. Mike says the valves were bad and you had pipe leaks. I liked my version of the story, Mario, much better, just so you know. I was into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So you got nothing else on your list?
We were both
That's
right.
not already in. Oh, let's talk about Thanksgiving.
Oh, well, we have.
I'm glad I'm in charge of both of our lists. It's really
Yes.
important.
Well, you were the one that decided that we were going to have Thanksgiving at the community building, or the warehouse, formerly known as the community building. So We invited a few friends. Actually, we invited everybody that we know to come to Thanksgiving at the warehouse. So we have 9 people. I
And that's
think so
everybody we
far.
know.
Well, that are coming, that have nowhere else to go, that they're like, hey, we'd love to come spend that time with you
Mhm.
watching football.
Or whatever.
Well, I'm sure football's going to be on because
Kind of a tradition.
we're at the warehouse and there's a TV and football plays that day. So
Yeah, we might have some.
that will be what will be on.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Did you invite Russ?
No, but I will.
Make sure you get that done. Yeah, we just thought that we would, for anybody who didn't have somewhere to go, that we could have.
Yeah. He says,
Understand.
we should do something for Thanksgiving. We should just go ahead and do a meal.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, sounds great. Let's do that. And then I tell his mom, and she's like, I'm not going to that. I'm like, okay.
Randy says B's on a roll tonight. I think she's feeling really great tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I'm feeling really great.
Yeah. All right. So what else for Thanksgiving? Anything?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to. I like Thanksgiving food. There's something pretty hard to beat: turkey stuffing,
Potatoes,
gravy.
over everything.
Yeah, that's
Tater tot casserole.
Yeah.
No, green bean casserole.
Yeah.
Mhm.
fresh baked homemade rolls, homemade pies, right?
Some of that. Some of that. Pies.
So you guys know from the sales world, what I just did right there was what's referred to as a trial close.
Trial close.
Well, it is. Yeah, Starla says squash dessert for tag. Nope. Hey, Romans 828 girl says better late than never. I'm glad you're here.
Hello.
No. So anyway, guys, as you guys know, we went on November 15th and 16th. We went down to Texas and went to Crunchy Mama Farms. And I spoke. William Bond was there.
Which was really cool because that was the first time I'd ever seen him
Speak?
Yeah.
Well, you have never really traveled with me, so
right.
there'd be a lot of people you haven't heard speak.
A lot.
The chef, what was the chef's name? I don't remember his name. He's on the expert council for Jack Spirko. Remember his name?
Chef Ken.
Chef Ken. Yeah, he was down there. He was a pretty interesting guy.
Ken Daniels.
Yeah, so basically they made some homemade pumpkin pies with the chef and
And
they did
they were
delicious.
Yeah, there was 3 different kinds. Like one had eggnog, whipped cream on top, Cool Whip something, and then one had like some kind of greenery in it, like not kidding,
Oh,
like
look at that.
pine needles
good
or
timing.
something.
Yeah. Hello from Dallas, Fort Worth. Well, hello. Where we got some rain, really needed it. Yeah, we weren't very far from you. Just not very long ago.
This storm right now is pretty big. There's a
yeah.
lot of people getting rain.
Yeah. We had a super good time. I'm hoping to share some pictures with you guys. So Crunchy Mama Farms, what they're really known for is, Be the Butcher. Right. And so people pay and they come in and they'll butcher and, an animal and they'll learn how to do all of that. They've got a beautiful processing kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's some things in there I would have loved to have here at the homestead. And some things we'll eventually have, like the cooler.
Yeah. A great place to like hang it up, like
Yeah.
the animal up.
Yeah.
Not like a bird, but like a cow.
Yeah.
Hoists or whatever. Be able to hang it up there and be able to cut pieces off and like hang it and carry it in and hang it into the locker because those pieces, those are heavy.
Yeah.
So, ways to move large chunks of meat. It was nice to be able to see that firsthand. Where they I don't know if they kill it there, but they cut it up and then move it in, and then them carrying the tables out like the double doors.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, let's take the tables out and wash them down. So they literally like open these doors and there's people carrying tables out. They like hose them all down, sanitize them all down, and bring them back in. I'm like, holy cow, they're like little ants. Just everybody doing what needs to be done.
This young lady says, I've been texting you, Tag. I'm the one that gave away all my quail today. So the city that she lives in has a mandated to her. She could only have, like, I don't remember the number, 12 quail. And so she had to get rid of all of them because the system says that she can't raise her own animals on her own property and her own things. And so she actually had to get rid of them. That's sad. That'd be super hard.
Yeah, they know better.
Yeah, that'd be super, super hard. So that's Bartertown. When we were there, that building that's in the background back there, that's their processing kitchen. And it's a beautiful place. But what you see going on is Bartertown. They've adopted Bartertown from the early days of Midwest preparedness. And it was actually fun. They really kind of have taken that whole tradition on their tribe days, right? And it was fun. I didn't barter for anything, did you?
I got bottles.
Bottles. You didn't bring
Like
any up to show,
flip
did
top, no.
You're prepared.
No. Like that you would put kombucha in, like flip top lid bottles.
Yep, I think
I got 8.
Yeah, I pretty much sat. That picture that I took, I'm sitting on a trailer, just kind of watching it and in kind of an awe because Bartertown began many, many moons ago when I was still involved with the Midwest Preparedness Project, and it's really grown, and I think it's really cool that it touched another community. But for me, this was fun because I got to go visit another community, and they're very different than us. There's they have big advantages over the community here, and we have big advantages over them in a lot of ways as well.
Yeah.
One of the things is they're younger than we are, right? They have a lot more kids. And, if you want to be sustainable, it means you have to be perpetual, and you can't be perpetual if you don't have kids, right? If you can't, pass it on. So that was a whole bunch of fun, I thought. Also, they had in their house, which is not in this picture, but in their house on one side, first level on one side, they had Airbnbs.
Yeah.
Which I thought was neat.
Yeah.
So they live on the other side of the Airbnbs. And so B and I, they provided one for us. So we stayed in it. And that was pretty cool, right?
Yep. Got a bed, got a bathroom, like private bathroom.
Yeah.
All the amenities, shower.
Yep.
Toilet.
For me, someone who speaks a lot, it's really nice to have a place to escape close. Because what happens is, and I don't mind it, but it's just how it works is, you go and you give a talk, and as soon as you get off stage, you're kind of bombarded right there for a little while. And like when I got off talking here, it was a good hour and a half or so before I got a break, and which is fine, but it's really neat to be able to go take a deep breath. Just take 10 minutes, of quiet to yourself and exhale, before you get back at it.
Well, just to use the bathroom. There was a lot of people in tents and porta potties. And they had a porta potty. Did you put the picture in there of the porta potty? There was a statue or a cardboard cutout of Chevy Chase, and it had a sign on it that said like the porta potties have been paid for by, and then so and so was like, thank you to the person that paid for the porta potties, and they had the sign in the porta potty.
Hey, Lindsay Freeze, welcome in. Good to see you. You are right on time. Yep. You are 43 minutes and 36 seconds fashionable. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to send them the picture. They had one of their people that come to their classes give them a tractor.
Oh, yeah. That was cool, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never had a tractor given to me, but I've had commercial sewing machines.
Oh, all kinds
for
of
the
stuff.
community building, stuff like that.
Really cool rocket.
Yeah, I got another picture here of a lot of the people who are there, but it's really distorted. I don't know why it does it to these pictures.
That is weird.
Yeah, there you are right there.
Yeah.
I'd make a joke, but I just won't.
That's probably good.
This was a beef cross that they had on their farm.
A Stotto cross.
Yeah. And so basically you strap the beef once processed, you strap
or whatever.
The beef or I guess you could do a lamb or pig or whatever it was. And then you put it over a bed of coals and you let it cook. They cooked this thing. They started cooking it on Friday at about 4 p.m. and they served it Saturday. It was 22 hours. Is that what it was? Yep. So they cooked it for 22 hours while we were there. But that wasn't the coolest part to me. The coolest part to me was just the thing itself, right? Because man, it turned and spun and flipped and
the meat
yeah, I mean,
back and forth so that you could like, toast both sides.
yeah,
Toast.
yeah, it was really, really cool. Yeah, let me see
It
here.
was. You cannot do it by yourself. You need a couple of guys to flip that.
Yeah,
The meat is heavy.
the meat is heavy.
And they didn't have the whole cow on there. They just had they'd cut the cow up and did the back straps. Is that right? Is that how you?
Mhm.
I don't butcher. I was hoping to be able to watch the butchering part, but did not get to see that part. That was done the day before, I believe. And then the rest of the meat was hanging in the freezer. Did you get a picture of that?
I don't know if I ever won. I don't think so.
So
Yeah, our
the
plan,
pieces that they had on here were
D-Doll, our plan for Thanksgiving is to spend it with the community, whoever is there, and then also our families and whatever, and just have a meal and, try to start about noon and be done by 4 or 5 and sit on the couch and enjoy the rest of my day.
And then go take a nap.
And go take a nap. That would be good.
Yeah, I'll get up at 6 and I'll start the turkey. And
yeah, Nito said they would need to be larger or they would be a meal, but I will say left to its own, it will develop its own ecosystem. The problem is that it's pretty small. 100-foot diameter pond that's infested with turtles, I think you'd be stocking it a lot with fish because it would become their main, food source.
Leo, what eat turtles?
I don't know. I mean, baby turtles, maybe fish would, but I know someone that broke a truss in a big barn trying to string up a Hugh Butcher hog. They need something like this. Yeah, it was super cool.
Well, this is to cook it.
Let's see here. Gratitude to Grace says there are catfish in our lake with turtles, also tilapia, bluegill, and shellcracker. I do not know what a shellcracker is.
Shellcracker.
I'm a shellcracker. All right, let's keep it trucking. First picture there, closest to B and I, that they actually used an axle, which I found interesting.
Oh.
And so it makes it so that's how it spins where you turn it around. It's all got these little axle joints on it.
Huh.
Which is really, really cool. Middle picture is them loading it onto the cross, and then the picture on the right is it actually on the cross, cooking. But it was super cool to watch it.
Yeah, it's not a big fire. They don't put a big fire under it.
Will be cool says gators eat turtles. Will be cool. That's what we need. Mandy, you got to get some gators.
We do.
I have never eaten turtle meat. One step closer says Cajuns love eating turtles. Yeah, we can send them to Louisiana, maybe. That might be a good solution for you. See here, there's the next picture closest to B there is that's William Bond. He was talking about soil, right?
Compost, yeah.
Compost, things like
Soil
that.
health, fertilizer, that stuff, sort of thing.
And the picture on the right is one of the chefs. What were they making? Right
They're
there?
making the pumpkin pie.
Is that what they were doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I love how all the kids were involved, with the process. This is really, really, really good stuff. This was a beautiful building. It was all concrete and, it was just really, really good.
Yeah.
Dana Green says gator tail meat is good. Interesting. What else? So I guess before we get there, let me go back. Let's remove that. Before we get there, I want to put a special thanks out to Crunchy Mama Farms. Thank you for your hospitality. The entire Crunchy Mama Farm community up there. Thank you for welcoming us.
Yeah.
Everybody was super, super friendly. We got along with everybody just fine. Anything we needed, there was someone there to help. They've got a great thing going on there. They need to continue to work on getting it intentional, but great community. It was a blessing to be part of it. I learned some things from it. Again, there's things that, they do better than us and things that we do better and vice versa. And, and all those things. So it was really cool to, experience that and to be part of that. I'd never been there before. And then also, when I met Amy and Sean was at the Anyone Can Farm Experience Tribe Day of Michigan. I was speaking up there 3 years ago, whatever. And I I met them after coming off stage up there, and they just funny. They talked to me about, we'd like to do this and we'd like to do that. And our plans are to do this and our plans are to do that. And you got to love all of that, right? Because if you don't know where you're going, how are you ever going to get there? But then to actually go down there 3 years later and see that they've done all of those
I was
things.
saying they're doing it.
They're doing it. They're living it every single day. They're, they've embraced the suck and they're figuring it out, every single day. Their kids are wonderful. So I just can't say enough, about them. So if you ever get a chance to go visit Crunchy Mama Farms, if you want to take a butchering class and you're anywhere down by Texas, go see them. I mean, what a great place. Spend your resources with someone like-minded, right? And they're good at what they do. And so, yeah. Anyway.
What a great way to learn.
Yep. In our neck of the woods, there's a new thing that has come on lately that we're going to see what happens. So the reservation that's close to me opened a industrial hemp manufacturing plant. And this is the door. I just took a picture. They had the door
So
open.
they're manufacturing hemp.
Well, they're growing it
then
and
that's
then they're processing the fibers.
Huh.
And what they're
Wonder what they're using.
they're
that
using
for.
them for hempcrete, right? So they're going to have their own form of concrete
Hempcrete.
called hempcrete, right? They're going to have their own brand of clothing. They're going to the reservation close to us is on this big food sovereignty sustainability kick. They built their own butchering plant to butcher their own buffalo. They've got their own food sovereignty building, and so anyway, this is the latest that they've been working on. And I've tried to maintain really good friendships with the tribe from living up here, and I think we're winning at that. But anyway, I thought this was super, super fascinating.
That is really fascinating.
Yeah. So hopefully,
You think that they're like, is there like waste product in there, like where they're going
I don't
to
know,
try to
dude.
get rid of it to
I don't know.
use as bedding or?
I don't know. It's something we're gonna have to go get to.
Huh.
I'll ask. I'll see if I can get a contact with somebody up there that I can go get a tour of it,
Pretty cool.
which would be pretty cool. Yeah. So anyway, I thought I'd just share that with you
I'd
guys.
love to see how they make clothes out of that.
Let's see here. Vidal says you can buy hemp seed at a local farmer's co-op. I did.
What did you do with your hemp seed?
Gratitude for Grace said, embrace the suck. We are taking your advice and doing our own floor tile. Hey, underlayment goes down tomorrow. Wish us luck. No luck involved. I wish you great success.
You got it.
Yep. So gratitude to
Easy.
Grace. I met, well, they've been part of our channel since pretty much the beginning, but I met them in face to face for the first time when I was speaking in Tennessee earlier this year. And we went and had dinner and hung out. Just great people, They remind me a lot of the folks, right here in our community, just good folks. So anyway, they were going to tile their bathroom. I'm like, you can do it yourself. You can do it yourself. And so it's great to say, we are taking your advice and we're doing our own floor tile. Victory.
Yep.
Yeah. So pretty cool. Stan Gunther says, I want to put hempcrete in my cabin. I'm looking forward to seeing what it is and exploring it. We shall see, right? Let's see here. I think she's got a problem.
Is that me?
Yes, that's you. But look at all those birds.
That's not a problem.
Yeah.
That looks great.
Yeah.
Everybody looks fine.
Yeah.
What's
So
the
how
problem?
many different species, breeds, and types of animals do you see in this picture?
3,
No.
4.
Well, I see goats,
Okay, 5.
turkeys, geese, guineas,
5.
chickens. Do I see any cows?
No.
Yeah.
No dogs.
I think she's got a problem. That's what I think.
I think that looks like a farm. We have a farm.
Mm-hmm. You got something.
Yeah, the gate was open and they were like, let's wander out this way. I was trying to get them back in.
Planted it, but was told by the owner to dig it up because he didn't want visitors to claim that they were growing weed. People are stupid about plant classification. I agree with that.
Huh.
Permatopia says, wow, that's a lot of animals. I have only 9 chickens. Oh, Mandy, I'm going to tell you something.
I have 9 chickens.
My wife, D, 9D.
I have 9 and then another 9. Probably a couple more 9s.
Oh, and I promise you, half of her birds aren't even in the picture. They're running around somewhere else doing something else. But I pulled
That's
up.
the majority of them.
Yeah, I don't see any cows, and I don't see the dogs in there either. And I don't see all
That's
the
only
goats.
7 more lives that are not in the picture.
Yeah. Dana Green says, how many going to freezer camp? Well, she just butchered. How many did you just butcher?
Like 13.
Yeah, she just butchered 13 of them that are already in freezer camp. And I'll actually show you what she did with them here. I got a picture of
These
them.
are all girls with a couple boys.
Now, Didal says, that not much poultry. No peafowl either.
Right.
It's just always sticking together, aren't you?
No, just agreeing. I mean,
Yep. And that's what she did with the ones she butchered. Right? You want to tell them about what you did?
I had a couple of turkeys and several chickens, and instead of trying to keep them all whole and using up the freezer space, I cut the wings off and stuck those all in one bag so that I can make like chicken wings. And then I put the legs in a bag, and then I took all of the breast meat, all of the other meat off, and put it all in a bag, and then I ground it up and put them in little 1 pound packages so that when I'm needing white bird meat, I've got it. I've got ground meat, I've got bone meat, I've got breast meat, I got whatever meat you want, baby.
Yeah. So she took the turkey and the chicken and ground it together.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think I got 13 1 pound packages.
Yeah, Nito says, I have about 45 chickens. Then we have wild quail and doves that hang around.
They're wild.
Mhm.
Do you feed them?
I'm waiting for B to tell me, oh, no, that's not my turkey. That's a wild one. No, that's not my chicken. That's a wild one. That's how you could hide more in there, right? If you claimed half of them were wild.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
How did you
They all look
like processing at the community building? This is really the first time you've been able to process down there.
Yeah, it was super easy. The grinder worked fine. I ended up using this as a grinder instead of the big grinder. I couldn't lift the big grinder by myself, and I didn't want to bother you. I knew you were in a meeting. And so, I mean, there was 13 pounds of meat there that I needed to get done. So this KitchenAid, I got the attachment from my parents when my dad died. And it has a crack on it, but if you don't press real hard into the hopper, it works okay. But it is on its last leg.
This machine is?
The the meat grinder, there's a crack on it.
Didal says there's always room for more poultry. I raised some broilers way past a few months. The roosters were starting to crow. Got some eggs. Super fat broiler was 13 pounds. That's a big one.
It is.
Yep. Nito says, well, they do partake of the grain I throw to the chickens. Plus, they visit the waterers too. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Conserve Friend wants to know if you boil the carcasses for broth.
I did not.
No.
I composted the carcasses.
We have someone in the community who is looking to do a broth day after Thanksgiving. Is that right?
I don't know. Lisa did a broth day before she left at the community building. So I have seen that process done, and I got 6 jars from just 6 jars. She left 6 jars of chicken broth here, and we used them to. What did we make? Oh, those chicken balls.
Turkey balls.
Turkey balls. It was turkey balls.
Yeah, it was turkey and stuffing like a meatball.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty good.
With all the celery and the.
Yeah, they were pretty good. What's all this?
Oh, so
These are your
we had a friend who went to the Harvesters drop off or pickup or whatever it was, and these were items that. So she went and was able to use some of the things, but like the potatoes or the carrots or they gave them so much of one item that she was like, can you use any of this? And so were able to bless a few other homes they had pears and spaghetti squash and carrots and potatoes and Bok choy. There was like lots of bok choy. She's like, here, take it. I'm like, what do you want me to do with that?
Feed to the chickens.
You can make some ferments of some kind. And then this like blueberries, and those were also part of that. She was like, we will not eat this. And so she left it.
You know how cool the community is, though, is that all of the vegetables disappeared, all of that stuff's gone, and what's left that no one's claimed is the 2 boxes of blueberry cereal.
Yeah. They also don't have a expiration date, but they're gonna go bad this week. So
Mario says it only takes 3,000 chicken feet to fall off of a truck to make broth.
yes.
Let's see here. Edal says, have you raised the emu? We have not. I have some friends who like emu meat. I've never even tried it.
It was better than beef.
You know, one step closer says, bok choy is yummy. I'm stir fry.
And stir fry. Yeah.
Bill Fallon says, use bok choy for great kimchi.
Kimchi. And that's what I was thinking. If I was making some kimchi, that'd be fine. But that was not the carrots that I'd taken some of the carrots, like a whole pack of them, and I tried to feed them to you. Several of them were super, like, you could take them and bend them all the way over, and they were super bendy. I'm like, well, that doesn't seem right.
Let's see here. Edal says, I have about 200 Chinese cabbage growing from seed. It's good to grow in cold temps.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, the Aurora Borealis. Yeah, these are
And that
pictures
was
from
crazy.
around our neighborhood when it happened. And I've never seen the Northern Lights down here before.
No,
Have you?
I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah. And what did you think about all
I thought it was freaky.
Mhm.
It was very eerie.
that? Yeah, and B had asked me what the why the colors are different. And it's because of the oxygen level at a certain altitude. And so,
Well, yeah, there's like bursts of different darknesses and brightnesses. And
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, so does that, light spot right there, does that mean that there's more oxygen there? Less oxygen
yeah, well,
there?
there's more oxygen the lower it is. So the greens, right, that are at the bottom down there, have the most oxygen, and then on its way up. But how beautiful is that?
It did feel heavy. The
Yeah.
air felt heavy.
Yeah. We did not experience any electrical problems because, this is all part of solar flares and stuff like that. But there are people who did, across the country. We actually went out and I actually shut my panels off. So I have a shut off between my solar panels and the inverters and batteries. And at night, once it was dark, I actually went out and shut them both off so that if there was some big,
Whatever.
surge of some kind of power, I would have an additional level of protection by having the panels shut off so that, the energy coming in through the solar panels wouldn't hurt anything.
Well, yeah, they were saying that the electricity or whatever in the air was like more than ever before.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, what does that even mean?
There was one of the solar flares that didn't really get us head on, was big like the 1859 Carrington event.
The
And
Carrington
had it
event.
been a direct hit, there'd have been a lot of people in a lot of bad shape. Good news is we can do things about it to protect from it, but
I could hear like ringing in my ears. I could feel like the electricity. I could sense it.
it is absolutely beautiful. I think I got one more picture too. Yeah, there you go.
It was just crazy. Look at how fake that looks. It's so bright and so colorful. It looks fake. It's not.
Roman says, God put on a laser light show. How awesome. Yeah, it was just absolutely beautiful. I really enjoyed it. Thought I'd share a picture. I have a granddaughter in my life who wanted a new bed with a desk. And so I spent a week building her a bed and a desk. Right?
Yeah.
And so it's got to be painted now, but it is all constructed and all the drawers work.
And you're going to go deliver it.
Yep. And I'm going to go deliver it. Or I'm going to paint it first. And then I'm going to go deliver it. But I built all the drawers. I built all the cabinets.
I didn't know you were painting it.
No, actually, you're going to paint it.
Yeah.
But DePlatt says,
I'll paint it for her.
don't miss the conditions. I had to witness them in. Yeah. I don't know that I don't want to live up there for those reasons, but it was absolutely spooky and beautiful all at the same time. I'm hoping that this desk really gives her a place to do her homework. And you can't, I don't know if you can see it, but in that middle section, there's actually an outlet in there that plugs in so that she can plug in the computer or a light
She'll grow into it.
or whatever it is. So I'll try to get a picture snapped when I get it all the way painted and all of that stuff. But I'm done with it as far as, constructing it.
I'm just going to paint it white.
Yeah, just white. And then it's a perfectly good bed. It'll last a long time and lots of storage and ought to be pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Heavy enough that they won't break it standing
Yep.
on it.
What else? So I am speaking on Sunday, November the 30th at BHN University at the World Special Event. This has to do with Origins Reclaimed. Dr. Daryl Wolf, Zen Honeycutt, Jim Gale, Dr. Andrea, I hope I'm going to say that wrong, right? Nazarenko, Rob Youngkins, Nicole C. Scott, Pat Militich. She's a Hall of Fame MMA fighter. Marjorie Wildcraft, Emily Mock, and Derek Lamans and I will speak. And we're going to talk about food sovereignty. But what I'm going to talk about is how food sovereignty isn't possible without community. And so I'll post that video. It's all going to be done virtually. So if someone's interested, you can go to bnuniversity.com and you can watch it there when the time comes. But it's November 30th, 2025, 11 a.m. Eastern time to 3:30 Eastern time. And, all of them are going to talk about something different. Pat Militich will talk about soil health. And, Jim will talk about, food forests. And Marjorie will talk about, gardening. And I don't know what all the topics will be, but there's some pretty cool names in there and some pretty cool people in there. So I hope you guys can watch. I'll post the video of my speech either way.
How come you're not smiling in your picture?
I don't even know where they got that picture.
You look like you're upset.
I am.
You're like,
I'm mad.
why am I paying these taxes?
Yeah, I just got back from the tax man. That's why my face is that way.
Yeah. Seeds of change.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited to look at that.
Also, don't forget we got the Freedom Festival. Freedom Festivus. Yep.
Freeman
Festivus on January the 3rd, 2026 at our warehouse, formerly known as the community building.
Yes.
And so we're going to have a lot of fun. Basically, just do a big potluck, right? What else? And George, talk about that. You've been having some meetings on that, right?
We have had one meeting. We are having another meeting next week.
Mm-hmm.
We have, we need to dwindle down the times because Tag's like, let's start at 7 a.m. and we'll go until midnight. And we're like, no, we're not. And he's like, yeah, we'll just party all day. And we're like, buddy, there's like a bunch of stuff behind the scenes that has to happen in order for you to party all day. And so
details.
he doesn't want details. He just wants to party all day. So party all day, I mean like watch football, eat tailgating food, listen to music, stuff that
hang out with my buddies.
Doesn't require like sweeping the floor and picking the food up when people are walking around eating. Those are all details. So anyway, we're gonna plan some gathering or some activities.
Mm-hmm.
If it's snowing out, we'd like to do like a snowman thing. If it's not, we'll do something else. We're talking about like a painting thing, like a Bob Ross painting thing.
Where everybody sits down and paints something?
Yeah.
I'm totally winning that.
We're talking about maybe a scavenger hunt or what's the other things? I think that's games. We're gonna play. Karaoke was on there too. And then like board games. We had some like Uno.
We could have a Risk tournament.
Telestrations, Risk. Like
Risk takes forever.
I was gonna say that's like Monopoly. That takes forever.
Detail wants to know how I got the name Tag. It comes from the very first company I ever owned called Tag Factor Paintball, and they gave it to me, and I've had it ever since. DePlatt says, man, I haven't heard Pat's name since early 2000. Pat is a good dude, And I'm going to have him down here to speak to us here at some point when we can coordinate it, in the right way. But he's a good guy. I've gotten to spend a fair amount of time with him. And, he, after, I don't know if you know this, Platt, after he left MMA and all of that, he went and built a company and owns it. It's called Soil Savior. And they go out and they heal poisonous, toxic land. And
how cool is that?
yeah, so he's really into the land movements. And so it'll be interesting to hear him speak as well. Was that picture taken after your house was upgraded on its quality?
What, this?
They're talking about
Yeah.
the picture of me right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it was
arbitrary decisions that
yeah.
our county makes.
Yeah. It was something like that. Man, that is. But I really appreciate, Gypsy, you reminding me of that experience. Just have to tell you, I'm very that's great. Yeah, DePlatt says, wow, I was unaware of his new career. That's really cool. Yeah. Look it up. Soilsaviors.com.
It's cool what he's doing.
Yeah. Mario says, tag, touch and go. It explains how tag likes to introduce people.
Touch and go.
Yeah, I've been accused of my name meaning touch and go before. Yeah, Gypsy says, my pleasure. Yep. That's what you get when you got buddies, huh? Gypsy. So you want to got anything else on your list I didn't cover? Or you want to do some good news?
You go ahead.
Oh, you got wood cooking videos.
Yeah, I said that.
Did you?
I said I started the wood cooking videos, which means that I'm hauling in wood now. And
Yep.
it's like monotonous.
Yeah, she did
Something that has to happen.
She did a wood cooking video from Crunchy Mama Farms when we were cooking that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Did she do one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Sado Cross. Yeah.
Yep. And that was the first one of the year.
Talked about it.
Yep. So you got to do a wood cooking video, didn't have to do the talking.
Yes.
You like that, huh?
I do that often.
Do you?
Like, what do we got here? And then bring somebody else in.
Yeah. All right. Want to do some good news?
Sure.
All
We
right.
got 10 minutes.
Yeah. Did you guys know that I'm assuming you did, that there was big, massive internet outages this last week? And it was interesting to me how they tried to explain it. There was a lot of people with a lot of different answers, but a couple of them said that it was that AI did it. And I found that to be interesting, right? Also,
Scary.
I found it interesting that they claimed that China and Russia have their own internet, but yet there's videos all over the internet of drones and things like that falling out of the sky during this outage. So I don't know if it's connected or not. I actually don't even really care if it's connected or not. But it does seem, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it does seem the internet outages are becoming more and more often and more frequent. Just in October, on the 20th, the AWS outage was, on the 29th, the Azure outage, and then on November 18th, which was the Cloudflare outage, which knocks tons of people off the internet. And, you need to think about this if your business depends upon it, right? I mean, how does the economy continue, go on if you can't, transact business and you can't do those kinds of things? So, I only really bring this up just to tell you guys, don't let yourself become 100% dependent on anything like that. It's okay to be dependent on it, right? I have companies that, use the internet exclusively, but obviously I have other things out there that make it to where I can withstand too, but don't put all your eggs out there in the internet world, because I think that's a dangerous place to be. What do you think?
I agree.
You agree? You got anything else to say besides that?
Nope.
You sure?
Dilly.
Stop using Facebook Messenger, Instagram, and WhatsApp from December 16th, 2025, or you'll face your private comments in court one day, says the White Rabbit podcast. So apparently Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, WhatsApp, and many others have decided that in their new privacy policy, they'll begin collecting your private messages. So, when you message somebody.
Yeah, but my private messages are like, I love those boots. Where's pickup?
Yeah. Well, for you, but there's many people in this world, that's their primary way they communicate now. It's through direct messenger. So, I mean, I always tell people, don't put anything out there you wouldn't want your mom to see. But,
Oh, well, yeah.
and I'd be perfectly happy with my mom seeing any of my messages. David Jones reported that anyone using Gmail, that you have been automatically opt-in to allow Gmail to access your private messages as well, and attachments to train AI models. So what they're saying is that they're going to use your private messages in a safe way. Don't worry, nothing's going to get out. They're just going to use it to train AI models.
Yeah.
You have to manually turn off the smart features in the settings menu in 2 separate locations to get out of it.
It's amazing how that AI, I didn't realize how much people use that.
Oh my goodness.
That it's crazy.
Did you know it's changing the face of commerce? You know why?
What do you mean?
So it used to be where you could use paid advertising in marketing. So like you could pay like Google, right, or Facebook or whatever it was, and you could work on getting your rankings up for your website and all that stuff. But what happens today is people go to AI and they say, like let's just pick on EMP Shield for a minute. They'll say, what's the best EMP surge suppression device? Right. And so what AI is going to do, it's going to generate an article and it's going to say there's lots of ways to deal with it. You can use surge suppression, but what it doesn't do is direct you to a website. When previously what would happen is you'd spend ad spend, someone would go to Google and say, suppression devices for EMP, and it would direct you to individual websites. So you could, as people got to the website, you could, sell them products, you could do those kinds of things. But AI is kind of making the ad spend on Google and Facebook not as valuable anymore. I knew you already knew that though, right?
I did not. I'm learning all kinds of things about AI.
I know, right? Let's see here. The government's attempt to censor the internet isn't working. And so they sent in the Karens to spread the fear. We cannot sacrifice one more child to online harm. So we are asking the government to retable Bill C9 and rename it the Online Safety Act. Politicians are asking that we censor the internet even more in order to protect our children. Right? And that's funny how they always do that.
Yeah.
Always, want to point out the weakest among us. I just don't buy it. I don't know if you guys are, let me read it first. The entire UN 2030 agenda rests on one cornerstone, your voluntary adoption of digital ID. As Whitney Webb, and anybody who don't follow Whitney Webb, I would encourage you to do it. She's really smart. You can find a lot of her stuff on YouTube, a lot of her interviews. If you don't know who she is, I'm telling you, go check her out. You ever watch Whitney Webb?
Mm-mm.
You really need to, babe. Really smart lady. Young lady, too. Anyway, as Whitney Webb powerfully argues, they are investing billions to sell you on its convenience, right? Hey, I'll pitch it as the solution to illegal migration, voter fraud, and cybercrime. But this is a sales pitch for a surveillance prison. Digital ID is the essential key that unlocks programmable, surveillable central bank digital currencies, the framework for a social credit system, predictive pre-crime policing, and pre-pandemic healthcare mandates. They learned from the vaccine passport rollout, the strategy is the carrot, not the stick. Making compliance easy and resistant seems inconvenient. They want you digitally dependent, isolated, and connected only through the virtual world they control and create, I would add.
Mm-hmm.
But their greatest fear is non-compliance. The power remains with us. We must build resilient real-world lives and communities that function outside of all of this. Right? And what she's saying is what I've been saying for years, which is community is the great isolator. Insulator. Right? It can't, through it, we can insulate ourselves from a lot of the world. Let's see here. Nito said, I found her info very informative. Yes. I wasted time or two. Very smart. Dana Green says watched. Okay, I watched. There you go. Say wasted. I watched a time or two. Very smart. Yeah, Whitney Webb is incredible and very, 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 very smart and seems to have no fear. I've really enjoyed a lot of the stuff that I've read and listened to from her. After 232 years today, the U.S. Mint has made the last penny. I'm sure many of you have already heard this.
I did not know that.
They are not making pennies anymore.
That's crazy.
Some of you might ask, well, how's it going to
They're
work?
just going to round up.
What's that?
They're just going to round up.
Yep. After a penny is retired, cash transactions will be affected by the new rules for rounding. Here is what you can expect. Rounding. Businesses will round cash transactions to the nearest nickel or 5 cents, depending on the amount. This means that if the total ends in 1, 2, 6, or 7 cents, it will round down to the nearest nickel. And if transactions ending in 3, 4, 8, or 9 will round up to the nearest nickel. Have you ever noticed anything about pricing in America? How much is a box of cereal?
$5.99.
How much is some cheese?
It's probably 99.
You know,
It's always like 98
always
or 89.
always ends in 9.
Yeah.
So one, that means that most of the transactions will be rounding up.
Go wrong.
You know, I would argue this is another form of taxation, but I'll leave it to the government to come up with a solution of 1, 2, 6, and 7 will round down, and 3, 4, 5,
That's
3,
ridiculous.
4, 8, and 9 will round up. Wouldn't it make more sense that if it's if it's under 5, you round down, and if it's over,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it just makes more sense, I think, to do it another way. Business adaptation. Cash-heavy businesses will need to adapt to the new rules, often stockpiling pennies or switching to automatic rounding systems. So not only are they going to stop it because they say it costs them too much money, they're also going to pass the burden on to businesses. Now they have to come up with automatic rounding systems. The penny will remain legal tender. It can still be used for transactions, but will just no longer be minted. The retirement of the penny is expected to save the government approximately $56 million annually and reduce the cost of minting. This charge is part of a broader trend towards more efficient, this is important, trends towards a more efficient monetary system that aligns with how people conduct transactions today. As the economy continues to evolve, the role of cash will continue to change. Right? Digital currency. Let's see here. Yeah, Romans girl says, yeah, but they're just going to round up the total at the register after everything has been added up and taxed, not each $5.99. I don't know about that. I mean, I think that Romans, that makes sense from a logistical perspective, that a system could just do that. But I think it's a great opportunity to raise the price a little bit. I guess we'll see. But your theory makes perfect sense. Let's see here. Did we just hear the statement regarding the creation of GESARA? Right? You guys ever heard of that? That's all over your news, isn't it? Yeah, this is the Board of Peace. So Trump forms and names himself the CEO, by the way, and the chairman. Says will cover large portions of the world. The UN passed it unanimously. So he forms a Board of Peace at the United Nations and named himself chairman. The United Nations passed it unanimously. China did not vote against it. Russia did not vote against it, right? Which is the trifecta of leaders. The board will be staffed with heads of major countries, something like no one has ever imagined. I wonder what that's all about. Let's see here. Nito says, ending in 9 was a psychological test that showed it tricks the mind to think the item was cheaper. Gypsy says the nickel is the next. It cost 14 cents to produce. Right. Right. Congratulations to the world, says Donald Trump, on the incredible vote of the United Nations Security Council just moments ago, acknowledging and endorsing the Board of Peace, which will be chaired by me and included the most powerful and respected leaders throughout the world. This will go down as one of the biggest approvals in the history of the United Nations, will lead to further peace all over the world, and is a moment of true historic proportion. Thank you to the United Nations and all of the countries on the UN Security Council, China, Russia, France, United Kingdom, Algeria, Denmark, Greece, Ghana, South Korea, Pakistan, Panama, Sierra Leone, Slovenia, and Somalia. Also, thank you to those countries that weren't on this committee but strongly backed the effort, including Qatar, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Turkey, and Jordan. The members of the board and many more exciting announcements will be made in the coming weeks. Yeah, DePlatt says, Not sure, but it might be a test run for cashless. Well, I think it's super interesting. As I mentioned, they said the rules from cash will continuously change, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of say it. So anyway, because it's an hour 24, I won't read that other one. But so basically, we have a new board of peace, and it's run by the top decision makers from around the globe. And I'm sure, just like every other governmental promise, they will honor it, and we will be more peaceful. You agree?
No.
Holy crap. Democratic members of Congress, including Senators Elissa Stolkin and Mark Kelly, just released a video encouraging members of the military to defy orders of President Trump. So a bunch of Democrats basically put out a video that said, I did not hear them say a single time, and I watched the video, that said, ignore the orders of Trump. What it said was that you have the duty to disobey an unlawful order. And so each one of these senators came out and, continued to talk about how they don't have to follow those orders. Donald Trump called it seditious behavior at the highest level. Each one of these traitors to our country should be arrested and put in trial. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. We won't have a country anymore. An example must be set, Donald Trump. He went on to even talk about they should be hanged.
And he was talking about these senators.
These senators, right. Because again, they said you don't have to follow lawful orders, guys. And I'm going to tell you that behind the scenes, we have been in a civil war for a while. We've been in World War III, I think, for a while. It's the shadow government of the left against the government of the right, and they're battling, kind of behind the scenes. Lindsay says it reads like satire. I just can't make sense of it. And Lindsay, this is such a great point. I don't know how to make sense of anything anymore. How do you know what's even true? How do you know what's even false?
And a lot of times he's like, when he's talking, he's saying things that he's purposefully like inside messages where most of us are like, what did he just say? Why did he say that? And then you look at other videos and they're like, oh, that's why he said that. That makes total sense. And then, like he's purposefully talking in code to where the majority of us have no idea what he's saying.
I actually have a kind of a problem with what he said. Because again, and I did not see a single one of them step up and say you don't have to obey the rules of Trump. What they said again was you have an obligation to not obey an unlawful order. I agree with that. Mm-hmm. Every police officer in every county and city, every elected official, all of them, every soldier has a duty not to follow unjust laws.
Yeah,
that's a fact. And now maybe there's something out there I have not seen yet. But I think Trump says seditious behavior punishable by death. I don't really buy that. I don't like that. I mean, I'm not, can't believe I'm agreeing with the Democrats. I don't agree with them on much. However, I don't see how that warrants death. I think it causes further division. And I actually agree with their position. All of us as citizens, you and me, everybody in this live tonight has a duty not to follow unjust laws. Right? You agree with that or you disagree with that?
I agree.
Just in exposing themselves, the Democrats announced their 2026 midterm campaign platform is impeaching and removing the office of President Trump. The only reason I even brought this one up is to say that you guys, you got to be careful watching, the gladiators in the Coliseum, because a lot of this is just circus, right? At the end of the day, we went from the government shutdown, right? That was all over the news. That's what kept us distracted. We're going to move into the Epstein files, which is the latest, which I'll talk about here in a minute. And then we're going to go into the impeachment of Trump. And it's this constant barrage of circus while the real stuff is being done, kind of behind the scenes. Let's see here. Lindsay says, I was late to the chat because I was jumping down a rabbit hole of Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning as of January 5th. I feel like there is so much going on behind closed doors. Boy, is there ever. Good for you. The Dems seem to be sowing doubt by making statements they can't back up with facts, in my opinion. Well, Nitos, I don't know. I mean, I don't is saying you have a duty to not follow an unjust order. That's a fact. I mean, that's written in the Uniform Code of Military Justice says that. Yeah. Kerry Davis says all brought to you by Central Casting. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think we're going to stay in this constant barrage of fear mongering and impeachments and the government being shut down and the Epstein files and all the way up until we can get another virus or something to take our mind
It's
off
like a soap opera.
It is like a soap opera. And these are the days of our lives, right? We're living in days of our lives. Holy cow. Speaking of Marjorie Taylor Greene, suggests Donald Trump is a traitor. This is a lady, you guys, who backed Trump hard for a long time.
Yeah.
Right.
They just called her Marjorie Taylor Black or something.
Yeah. I was called a traitor by a man I fought for 6 years. I gave him my loyalty for free. Let me tell you what a traitor is. It's an American who serves foreign countries and themselves, she responds. She finally said the part out loud. She said, I was day one MAGA, and this fight has ripped MAGA apart. Watching the man we supported do this has been one of the most destructive things to the movement. The American people won't tolerate any more bullshit. She's not defending Trump anymore. She's describing a movement collapsing from the inside. Do you want to hear them read the names? Both Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene are saying that if Trump's Department of Justice redacts any of the names of the Epstein files, that they will personally read the names on the House floor. President Trump just attacked me and lied about me. I haven't called him at all, but I did send these text messages today. Apparently, this is what sent him over the edge. And she was talking about, she sent them text. I read them text of releasing stuff about the Epsteins. And she thinks that Trump turned on her because she wants the Epstein list released. Let's get some of this stuff done here. Newbar says, don't think the Dems weren't trying to dramatize their statement. Oh, of course they were. I don't think anything they said was illegal. So, I mean, are we gonna create punishment in tone of voice? Right? I mean, I don't particularly like what they said.
Everything else is arbitrary.
So they're absolutely instigating, but at the end of the day, they didn't break any laws. Romans Girl says, I'd like to see exactly what the Dems said. Has their original message been spun to make Trump look bad, or is he going off the rails and we're right to agree with the Dems? Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, the videos that I seen that the Dems put out on this said you don't have to follow an illegal order. That's true. So of course they want it to be, big. They want it to be grand. They absolutely knew what was going to happen after they do that. You make Trump look like a tyrant, which is probably part of the plan, right? The problem is they're not governing, right? They're living in, as B said, a soap opera. Nito says, I agree with that tag, but in interviews, they can't specify a single order that was against the Constitution. So why make the video? To instigate, Nito's.
To start crap,
right? To just to get it going and going and going. Epstein survivor said, I was raped 3 times a day, and I wasn't the only girl. It was a conveyor belt of abuse. Congress is actively protecting the monsters behind this, and the entire system needs to be destroyed. That they have subpoenaed Bill and Hillary Clinton, along with Bill Barr, Alberto Gonzales, Jeff Sessions, Robert Mueller, Loretta Lynch, and Eric Holder, all to testify. Now, the Clintons have decided they weren't coming, and so now they're talking about maybe arresting them. But I think at the end of the day, I think we're never going to see anything. The House Senate passed the Epstein discharge petition. This is hilarious, by the way, via unanimous consent. The Senate has now passed the Epstein bill. So basically, please help me understand this. I don't get it at all. We have the Epstein files. We're going to release them. They're on my desk. Here is phase 1. No, we don't have any. There's nothing in them. There was no sex trafficking going on. Nobody visited the island. Case closed. Now we need a bill to release the Epstein file. You tracking?
Did they go in a big circle?
Yeah, they went in an absolute big circle. So basically, the House and now the president has signed this bill to release it. But here, and check this out: Trump signs the Epstein Files Transparency Act into law.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
All right. So check. This is important because obviously, if the name says that, it has to be true, right? Affordable Care Act. So on November 19th, 2025, President Trump signed a bipartisan H.R. 4405 requiring the Justice Department to release unclassified, important word, unclassified, Epstein files. Why are there classified and unclassified Epstein files? Why is who a predator was, who was preying on innocence,
When he's
a
dead.
national security issue?
And he's dead.
Yeah, but what are they protecting? Why does it have to be classified? Do we have
Right.
national security assets involved? This is ridiculous, including flight logs, associates, investigations, and death records within 30 days in a searchable online format. The bill, pushed by Representative Thomas Massey and Rakana, passed the House 427-1 and the Senate unanimously after overcoming leadership delays. It allows limited redactions for victim privacy and security, but bans withholding to avoid embarrassment, with attorney Pam Bondi pledging compliance amid survivor demands for full accountability. Pam Bondi is the same one that said, I have it. It's on my desk. Here's phase one. And then there's nothing. Just absolutely makes no sense to me. I mean, round and round and round we go. And we need to look at the hypocrisy in it because it's everywhere, right? Remember when the binders were released?
Mm-hmm.
Remember when Pam Bondi said that she had it on her desk? Remember when she said there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children and child porn? Right? Now we're going to comment because it's a pending investigation. So there was an investigation, then there wasn't an investigation, then there was a new investigation. There's a new investigation because now they say there's new evidence. Okay, so we've now gone from we're releasing the files to here are the binders to Epstein trafficked no one to it's a Democrat hoax to the disclosure being required by law to now we have a brand new investigation and a law. Everybody tracking?
That's a soap opera.
Right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then they're going to come back to life. Epstein's going to come back to life. And then they're going to find who his, stepdad was.
It's bread and circus, everybody. All it is.
And he'll get cancer and
Yep.
die again.
Remember when Kash Patel said the Epstein Black Book, he would release it on day one. I will do everything so the American public knows exactly what happened. Kash Patel admits to releasing the client's list of sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. So he said he actually had released it. He also said on the Epstein files, I'm not going to withhold information from the American public ever, but I'm also not going to rush to get it out there in a format to which they can't rely upon. Went on to say, there's no credible information that child sex offender Epstein trafficked minors. Already 40 minors have testified that that's not true, right? He said, case closed. Give you help there? How about Dan Bongino in 2019 says that there's no possible way Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide, but then recently totally changed his story after joining the administration. Dan Bongino was the one who always told us to never let the Epstein question die. These were his words. He warned us that they would try to cover it up, and they did. Right in 2023, he said, please do not let the story go. We need to keep the heat on. In 2025, Epstein killed himself. No client list. End of story. Discernment. Right?
That's crazy.
The good news is we are going to get another Epstein list. This is what it's going to look like. And you get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
Right.
Right?
There's 12 words on that whole page.
It was never about any of this. It's about keeping us distracted the entire way. Right? Mario says the general public doesn't see it in legalities as much as they do emotion. Yep, it's all clear as mud. Looking at this logically, if the last administration had proof that Republicans, including Trump, were named, they wouldn't release the files. I think they would have. Yep. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, Jen says, we will never know the truth. They'll keep lying, and one would be better off being happy in a condo in Boca and sipping fruity drinks on the beach, head in the sand. We will never know. And Carrie Davis says Epstein ain't dead.
Right.
I think the real
Right.
moral of the story, you guys, is the Colosseum. And you give them bread and circus and they will never revolt. Right? Celtic Warrior says, don't take your eyes off the ball. Distractions are everywhere. These are the distractions, right? It's the government shutdown. It's, the Chinese spy balloon. It's, the Epstein files. Now it's going to be, they said they're going to impeach Trump again, right? It's this constant barrage. Football, beer, and above all, gambling filled up the horizon of their minds. To keep them in control was not difficult, George Orwell. Are we all living in the matrix? Most people don't realize they're part of the system built to keep them comfortable, distracted, and powerless. The hardest part isn't waking up. It's realizing you've been asleep. If you keep people exhausted and distracted, they won't organize. If you keep them struggling and divided, they won't resist. The system isn't broken. It's working as designed.
Ouch.
Like that?
Yeah.
Let me tell you why they do all of this. Because then we're not paying attention to the things that are going on behind the scenes. What's going on behind the scenes, you might ask? Well, let's talk about it. The U.S. is preparing a $2,000 stimulus check. Japan is preparing a $110 billion stimulus package. China has just approved a $1.4 trillion stimulus package. The Fed is officially ending QT. The U.S. is issuing $1.9 trillion in treasuries. Canada is restarting its quantitative easing program. The global M2 money supply is a record $137 trillion, and global rate cuts are at a 320 plus over the last 24 months. In what world is another wave of inflation not on its way? So things are going to get more expensive. And a record amount of Americans are now behind on their car payments. Subprime borrowers late on auto loans reached its highest level since 1994. Lumber prices have now plunged to their lowest level. This is good news for you homesteaders if you want to go build something, but it's not good for an economy. Nito says, but they didn't release the files because it hurts their side too much. Yeah, Packrat says, keep your eyes on the ball as the cups go round and round and round the table. Yeah, where will it go? Yeah, ain't that the truth? But there's more good news. Groceries just hit a high, $1,030 a month, but somehow that's only 7.9% inflation. As an example of this, if you look at McDonald's prices since 2019, a medium French fry went from $1.79 to $4.19.
Mm-hmm.
A McChicken was $1.29. I remember when the McChicken was on the dollar menu in 2019. Is now $3.89. A Big Mac from $3.99 to $7.49. 10 McNuggets went from $4.49 to $7.58. And a dollar cheeseburger from the dollar menu is now on the $3.15 menu. So some of this is over a 200% increase in price. This isn't inflation, it's legalized robbery. Well, I would argue inflation is legalized robbery, right? The average cost of groceries is over $1,000 per month for the family of four. About 87% of all stocks are held by 20% of the population, and we lost over 100,000 jobs last month, but there's no economic data to confirm. Meanwhile, back at the White House, we built a grand ballroom.
Yeah.
Right? Let's see here. Jen says one can build stuff and pay extortion fees for ownership. Yeah, pretty much how it works. Foreclosure filing shot up nearly 20% in October from a year ago, highlighting the growing packet of distress in the housing market. Nearly 37,000 properties in the U.S. had foreclosure filings in October, according to a new report by Adam, a property data provider. Foreclosure filings include default notices, scheduled auctions, or bank repossessions. Though October's foreclosures activity was still well below historic highs, the overall pattern of the last 8 months indicates that an increasing number of homeowners are struggling to pay their mortgages. A major warning sign from 2008 just flashed again in the United States economy as the alarm bells are becoming impossible to ignore. The numbers now coming in are so severe that analysts are openly predicting a new Great Recession. The damage is coming in from every direction and accelerating fast. Foreclosures, evictions, repossessions, and mass layoffs are all surging at the same time, creating a pattern the political class can no longer brush aside. It's interesting statistic. Did you know the median age of home buyers since 1981? So if you're looking about 1981, the first-time buyer was about 29 years of age. right? If you look at a repeat buyer was 36, but the average was 31 years of age. Today, the median first-time buyer age increased to 40 this year. So first-time buyer went from 29 to 40, right? Which is a record high. The typical repeat buyer is now 62, also a high. So if you look at the average, right, first-time buyer in the United States of America, the average age is 59 years of age to buy your first home. 59 years of age. Oh my goodness. This is great news. The U.S. housing market is in its biggest bubble in history, and it's going to end in a disastrous crash, says Jesse Colombo. It's inevitable and nothing can stop it. The chart below shows real inflation-adjusted housing prices, which confirms that the market is even more overvalued than then. And they're comparing it to the 2008 housing crisis. Remember when they bailed out Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac? And we're in a worse position today. Dummy screwed up Christmas in October. There were 37,000 foreclosure filings, or the first step where lender warns the borrowers they're in default. That's up 3% for September and 19% over the year. Last time it was that bad was 2008, or the Great Recession, aka worst housing crisis in modern history. Breaking, about 6.1 million Americans are behind on their mortgage, the highest rate in 20 years. Good news, huh?
No, that's not great.
Yep. It's all the stuff that they're doing behind us.
Well, they don't want them to own it. They don't want to own anything.
No. And I think if they're just playing games, they're living in a soap opera, and they're so detached from what goes on in the real world, and they care so little for the consequences, right? We always talk about how you have freedom of choice, but you don't have freedom to the consequences of your choice, right? And they're free to make their choices and take no ownership of the consequences.
Well, you got people out there who are their taxes have went up 100%. They're
I'm one of them.
selling their houses because they can't continue on that kind of a rate.
Yep. In America, almost all the most popular maple syrups now contain zero maple syrup. Did you know that?
That's crazy.
Pearl Milling Company, Aunt Jemima, Log Cabin, Mrs. Butterworth, Hungry Jack, and Waffle House all contain no actual maple syrup. Bird flu strain confirmed in human for first time after only seen in animals before. A Washington State resident has tested positive for bird flu, making the first human case confirmed in the U.S. in 9 months. The patient, who is an older adult with underlying health conditions, developed symptoms including a high fever, confusion, and respiratory distress, and was hospitalized in early November, according to the Washington State Department of Health. I think it's interesting how you could also say he just got the flu, right?
But he got it from eating a bird.
Well, they don't know how. They don't know that, but
Or maybe he was
listen to how
caring for a bird.
Listen to how they said it. The patient, who is an older adult with underlying health conditions, developed symptoms including high fever, confusion, and respiratory distress. That would also describe the flu, wouldn't that?
Probably.
Yeah, that's what I think. Could be. Can anyone say Bill Gates, former bioweapons contractor, says that we turned ticks into a poor man's nuke? A Pentagon insider reveals. The U.S. military once bred ticks, fleas, and mosquitoes as bioweapons, loading them with plague, rabies, and other lethal diseases. The aim, a cheap $1.33 per life stealthy weapon to devastate populations and collapse healthcare systems. That's lovely, right?
How'd they get him to the people?
Well, according to Mr. Alex Jones, it says, is the government funded by Bill Gates deliberately releasing disease-carrying ticks? The ticks responsible for alpha-gal syndrome is causing serious injury to 450,000 people in the U.S. per CDC figures. And, I have people in my life I love who suffer from alpha-gals because of a tick bite. The news blames climate change, but what if science engineered these ticks? World Economic Forum bioethics Matthew Leo has already stated numerous times that scientists should cause allergies to lower our meat consumption. So if they put alpha gals in a tick, that would lower our meat consumption. It would make us less dependent on red meats for sure, right?
Right.
First, there was a dark evidence of the origin of Lyme disease, and now we have this. Stock up on guineas, everybody. Get some birds in your yard, right? They sold a sunscreen and the cancer. Johnson & Johnson was caught loading their sunscreens with carcinogenic chemicals, the very same cancer their companies makes billions treating.
Of course.
Yeah. It's pretty bad when you make the problem and the cure.
And the cure.
This image of a pig losing her mind after being held to a living so small she can't even turn around for 5 to 8 months straight has led to internet users debating and questioning how we treat our livestock and what we can do to improve. Just to compare, pigs are oftentimes considered the fourth smartest animal on the planet, while dogs typically hang around ninth or 10th. This is the food we're eating, right? This is what happens when you go into Walmart and you buy pork. This is where your bacon's coming from, right? We have to be able to do better. You know, food sovereignty starts by recognizing that you can't eat that stuff. You just can't do it, right? Nito said, yeah, I have family members who also had alcohol. Americans bought a steak and it immediately started becoming slush and coming apart. What is that stuff gluing it together right there? It's like a glue right at the seams. This was a steak and it looked like a steak. Now it just fell apart. I'm sure you guys know that meat glue has been used for a while now, right? And now they're saying meat glue has been linked to celiac disease and other inflammatory digestive conditions, which are found in things like chicken nuggets, veggie burgers, and other processed foods.
Crazy. Of course.
Yep. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. reveals that BlackRock is quietly acquiring control of the meat and pharmaceutical markets. BlackRock owns all the meat packers. There are only 4 meat packers in this country. BlackRock owns all of them. You can say to them, you need to do an antitrust suits against those meat packers. The meat packers are keeping the price of meat high and the price of cows low, so the farmer gets hurt and the consumers get hurt and they make all the money because they got the monopoly. BlackRock owns all the pharmaceutical companies, and we can start regulating the pharmaceutical companies so that they behave less like a cartel. Yeah. Packrat says, Salatin's The Pigness of Pigs addresses this treatment head on. I don't want to eat an animal that's been caged like that. You know, we talk about on the farm.
Or glued together.
No, we talk on the farm all the time. Like I get people who ask me, how do you kill your animals? I'm like, it's easy, you know, because at the end of the day, me and my animals made a deal. And that was that I would give them the best life a cow or a chicken or whatever could have. We'll give them a great life because we know they're going to give their lives for us. And so for me, they lived through to their deal. I lived through to my deal. I don't really struggle with it. But to put an animal through like what the pictures you've seen, that's ridiculous. Russian vessel, directed lasers at our pilots. As I spoke, a Russian spy ship was on the edge of entering United Kingdom waters. This was a vessel urged for gathering intelligence and mapping out our underwater cables. This was King Charles talking to an audience, the World Economic Forum in Davos, and he says, and I quote, let's see here, the time is now and we need a reset. Yeah. It's coming. The question is, how will it be triggered? And I think we have to ask ourselves this as they try to bring on the central bank digital currency, the Great Reset, all of that. What is the trigger, that they will use? If you can see here, UN General Assembly, right, conducted a vote, right? And this was the vote on the basically a condemnation of Nazism, neo-Nazism, and other, things like that. And you can see how the world voted. And, the Eagleman was wondering, have the World War III, have the lines been defined? This is how the UN is split, I guess. And then meanwhile, in France, France's most senior general has just come out and stated that the French must be prepared to lose their children fighting the Moscow regime. The deep state-owned globalist lunatics are desperate for World War III. And I can tell you guys, every intel I have, everybody that I talk to say the governments around the world are preparing. And I can tell you as we should be too. Hey, Rose, welcome in, by the way. Jen says, I'm going in for the SAT treatment next week. Hopefully it works. We went over the cut sheet for the beef today. That'd be cool. Oh, 6 minutes. All right. The elites own everything except the skill to keep it alive. Their power isn't real. It's borrowed from everyone else's labor. Take that away and the illusion dies. Rapid Response says, if the economy added so many jobs, why did the unemployment rate go up? It's because more people came off the sidelines and were actively looking for work. When you're looking for work, you're actually counted among the unemployed. Fox News is telling people to save and not buy Christmas gifts for loved ones because Trump is doing such a good job. Remember, adults don't need gifts. Grandma doesn't need slippers. Trump's economy sucks, and we all know it. Merch says this man is a Gen Xer, and he realized a long time ago that there was going to be no retirement for him. I sold all of the things that I had, cashed in my retirement, and purchased some land out here in Tennessee to live on. And now what I have to do is pay for permission to live on this land, buy permits, and I also have to pay taxes every year, whatever the amount they decide, forever in this land of the free. You can never escape the system they have built for us. There is no end to it. It goes on forever until you die. The system where we're constantly paying a tithe to the government in hopes that they will do the right thing at some point ever. Whatever prices they decide is the icing on the cake. Property taxes are the biggest scam to ever force people to stay in the matrix, in my opinion. We are never free. You're only as free as what you can afford. Perpetual property taxes should be abolished. I agree. And Barbell Financial says this is the worst economy I've seen. Inflation is up, job market sucks, wages stagnating, largest wealth gap, record national debt, record consumer debt, mortgage defaults rising, new mass layoffs every day. Verizon just laid off 15,000 in Kansas City yesterday. No one can afford a house or have kids. It feels like something big is coming. I have to tell you, I agree with you. And to leave you guys, I'll leave you with this. Died Suddenly says, ever wonder why the school system don't teach any real life skills anymore? Because the moment a man becomes self-reliant, the system loses control. They don't want you to know how to survive without them. They want you dependent. They want you obedient. They want you to be reliant on the government. And so they teach kids how to comply, not how to think. Self-reliance is dangerous to the people who crave power, because once you can feed yourself, once you can defend yourself, once you can think for yourself, they can't control you anymore. That's why they vilify independence, because the system doesn't fear rebellion. It fears men who no longer need it. The strongest rebellion left in the world is a man who refuses to depend on a system that's trying to enslave them. I agree. You agree?
I do agree. I've not seen that before.
Oh, I forgot.
Like that.
I have one more picture for you.
Like that.
Right. Just because it was sent in, I got to show you guys this. Isn't that great? So Walmart has some Black Friday deals. This is a Cook with color cutting board with lid, $11.97. And then you take the tag off, and it was always $11.97.
Yeah.
Right? Don't believe everything you hear.
But it was
Don't
on
believe
sale.
everything you see. I know, right?
Look at how they're getting you. Just one more way.
Yeah. This is perfectly said. Jen says, ant and grasshoppers, which one do you choose to be? Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, isn't it? Guys, I don't know the answer to all these things. I don't know what the right solution is. What I do know is that whatever the answer is, whatever's in front of us, we're going to face it better if we face it together. Right? And we can choose to serve the system, or we can choose to serve each other. That is the only choices we have left. There is no other choices, because you can't get free alone. It's impossible. I try every day. Right? I bought land. I put in off-grid. I put in water. I did all of that stuff. I paid it all off. I got rid of debt. I did all of those things, and I am incapable of living free by myself. I'm telling you this. There's too many inputs that you need. There's too much coming from too many directions that you need. There's just no way. The only hope we have is to band together. B, any parting words before we get out of here?
I like that. I agree with that.
Any other parting words?
I was going to say to put on your shield of faith. Put on your entire armor of God. That's what I was going to add.
Mm-hmm. Guys, we'll get through this. We're just going to have to get through it together, right? And I think the question isn't so much whether we'll get through it, because human beings are tough, man. And we're super resilient. It's how much stuff do we want to have as we go through it.
Yeah.
Prices aren't coming down. Taxes aren't coming down. Guys, it's not. I'm telling you, it's going to get worse. Black Friday, just like we just demonstrated, Black Friday wasn't sale. It was only a sale because they put Black Friday on it. Right? The price was exactly the same. I do agree that we should not be buying presents. I think that we should go out there and do some other things, spend some time together, go fishing, go do whatever, and get away from the, you know, the consumerism of it. Yep. I think that's absolutely smart advice. But I guess at the end of the day, guys, choose your master, right? You're going to yoke up with community, or you're going to continue to be a slave. Tag out.
Yeah.
All right.